Hey, in the seminar series, we're on day 2. This is the seminar series where we're talking about change. We're in chapter 2 of the blueprint. This is the one where we go over the results, the purpose, and the massive action. And I guess we'll get to it. We'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about those behaviors. If you have good behaviors, and if you're getting the necessary success that you want in your life, then it's time to reevaluate your goals. It's time for you to reevaluate who you are as a person and see if you can escalate yourself to the next level. It's time to repurpose yourself and figure out what it is that you could be better at. What is it you could do more of? And if you're not where you want to be at, then you have to ask yourself the question, if you knew you couldn't fail and you wanted to be that ideal version of yourself, you're going to have to jot that person down on paper, look at it and see where are your shortcomings at. What would you have to do? What would you have to give up in order to become that person? And then you have to find out why. You have to define why and find out why you're not there. Look at your shortcomings. It's so important that you take a true inventory of yourself and you look at what are you really good at? What are you really bad at? And then hold yourself accountable. What different skill sets do you need to develop? What knowledge do you need? What attitude do you need to change? And what habits do you need to change? Because as this all ties in together, what you're going to find out is once you start to identify and start to take a step into that direction of the ideal version of yourself, because you're defined by your purpose, you're going to have to know what activities you're going to need to do. And maybe not activities you need to do, but you're going to have to start doing activities. Here's what happens in the real world and in your reality. And most of the people that I talk to, when you really start to define where it is that you're going in this life, most people aren't very aware. Most people don't know. And I'll prove it to you. What do you really want? Blank stares, confusion. People just don't know. And when I've asked this to audiences, when I spoke publicly, people just don't know what they want. And when I'm onboarding new salesmen or new managers, you have to define what it is. It's why are you here? I'm here for a job. Is that really what you want as a job? You want the job, what it can do for you, what it can give you access to, because the money is access to something. However, you can exchange all the time in the world for all the money in the world. And what have you done? There's got to be a balance there. There has to be a purpose. So my question to you is this: what do you really want? What do you truly want out of your life? And a good educator, for you to find out what it is that you want, is look at the adversity that you went through. Why did you go through it? Why did you go through that particular set of adversities or a consistent set of adversities? And then you have to pull out the lessons for it. There's a reason why you went through that part of your life specifically. You just have to sit down and journal it, and you have to make that understanding of, why did I go through this? What was the lessons from it? What did you learn from it? What did you learn? Not what did somebody else think you should learn from it? Like, I'll use for example, in a reality for me. Why did I do drugs and alcohol? It's a really, I'm vulnerable when I put this out there, but it's a reality for me. 18 years ago, that's what I did. Is it I like to get high and I like to drink and I like to escape? Sure. But what was I escaping from? The truth is that I was lying to myself. And if I dig down a little bit further, it's because I didn't like myself. And why didn't I like myself? It's because I didn't feel like I fit in. And that goes down to some psychological root from a long time ago. I didn't feel like I fit in for a lot of different reasons. And you might be going through that yourself. But here's what I've found out. Now, it can go deeper in that, and that's about as far as I'm going to go on the podcast. And if you want to talk more about that, we can. But I'm not a therapist. I'm telling you that there's adversities that you've had in your life, that there's lessons to be learned. And if I want to fit in, if that's my goal to fit in, maybe I need to redirect that and realize, why do I want to fit in? And that's where the rubber hits the road. I don't need to fit in. And how did I find that out? How did I really, truly know that? Because when I started competing against myself, when I decided that I wanted to be the best version of myself instead of competing with everybody else, that's when I started to find my purpose. And when I started to apply massive action into a specific space with consistency, that's when everything started to change. That's when there was no more competition. That's when there was no fitting in, and I never was going to fit in. People would just have to accept me for who I was. And that ideal version of myself, which I'm still chasing to this day, started to show up in different areas in my life. Maybe that's maturity, maybe that's wisdom, maybe that's age. And that's all I'm trying to share with you on this podcast is if you're at point A and I'm at point B, I'm trying to get you to point B. I'm not saying anything other than if you're at point A and you're trying to get to point B, I'm trying to help you get there. And if you want to change who you are, I can help. The agent of change. I can help you change that. The whole goal is about developing your character and learning from adversity. Success comes from adversity when you learn about why you were in that adversity and you understand the reasons for that adversity. Life's not fair. And, why would God create so much adversity in the world? The world's an imperfect place. This isn't heaven. Please understand, this is not heaven on earth. The world is imperfect. It's a very imperfect place. And what we have to understand is this, and this is something, a reality that I face is, if God is good, okay, if he is, then why is there bad in the world? Well, I'm going to ask you this. If we're all in this for ourselves, here's a question for you. And this is just the way it is. Then my question to you is this. Then maybe God is in the world because there is good. If that makes any sense whatsoever, I hope you're going along here, because it's not all bad. And that's why I believe there is God in the place. And I think I want you to understand more than anything from this podcast is that you need to show up the best version of yourself so that you can help people along the way. Those adversities and lessons that you've learned, you need to start helping people based on what you've learned. And that's where you're truly going to find your purpose, because this journey that we're in is truly about helping other people. It's helping people realize their true potential. And I found that through this podcast, and it gives me great fulfillment when somebody reaches out to me and says, this helped, motivated, and inspired me to become a better version of myself. And here's what I'm doing now. It's all about developing that character. Imagine this. Imagine you have a big goal, whatever that goal is. And imagine you have to do X number of activities for whatever it is that goal is. The activity goal that you need to do and you need to push, whatever that is, just imagine that life gets hard and you say to yourself, there's not enough time in the day. There's too many things that are against me. I have too many adversities, too many challenges. And you now, instead of taking that X amount of activities that you need to do in a day, you shorten that, you shrink that to meet your ideal. You get comfortable with the excuses and the bullshit that you tell yourself on why you can't do something. What happens to your goal? It minimizes also. So what I'm here to tell you is to get out of your comfort zone. Push forward, go through that activity goals, write down a big activity goal, be exhausted at the end of the day, develop your character along the way, put yourself into adverse situations, push yourself to get all the reps in, keep pushing really hard, and at the end of the day, be victorious in the amount of activities that you've done, because that massive action towards singular focus is really what's going to get you from point A to point B, and you're going to have to be uncomfortable to do it. So when you've applied the massive action and you know your why, your purpose for doing it, it's a simple matter of getting the results over time, and you'll continually do it. And the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. And now you're in a success cycle. And it's so hard to get that inertia. But the first thing you need to do, and you need to understand, is you're going to need to start. So if you do want to change, it's going to have to start with an idea about who you want to become and what you want to be. What are the things in life that you want, and who does that person have to become in order to have those things? If you want to become an executive, you're going to have to behaving like an executive would. The appearance, the attitude, the demeanor, the schedule, the organization, the time management, the communication skills, the leadership skills. You're going to have to start having those things. And when you do those things long enough and you start taking the activities and making the network connections, it's just a matter of time. But you do have to have a goal in mind in order to do that. Let's say that you're in a situation where you're a laborer, you do something and you get paid by the hour and you want to move up to management. What do you have to do? Well, you're going to have to show up early. You're going to have to take the initiative. You're going to have to work harder than anybody else to be noticed. You're going to have to do things without getting paid. You're going to have to be that person that's the solution provider for all the problems. And you're going to have to be a good follower to the leader. And you're going to have to understand too is sometimes that there's not good leaders in that position, and you're going to have to recognize on how to navigate your communication style to be an effective leader while there's an ineffective leader ahead of you. And there's so many different things that you can do that, but over time, you will eventually be the leader or find a position where you'll be a leader just because you're doing all of the right things. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When you do the right thing, the next right thing happens. If you do it long enough for a consistent period of time, and that's the word, consistent period of time, your life is going to shape up because the person that you're becoming is the person that's going to achieve those goals. Just please don't forget that. So that's about it. I'm running out of time on this podcast. This is podcast number 2 in the series, in the seminar series, the summary seminar series, say that 10 times fast, and how to change from the results, the purpose, and the massive action. And the question for you today is, what can you do that's important right now? What can you do to win today that's going to help you change, to get out of adversity and start going on the path towards success? Remember this, folks. You're either in the middle of adversity right now and keep moving forward, or you're getting ready to head into adversity, which some of us are, or you've gotten out of adversity. But either way, thank God that you're in a position right now where you can learn, you can earn, and you can keep moving forward. You are worthy. You are worthwhile. If you have any questions, you need to hit me up. Go to Dan at the No Comfort Zone. And remember this, get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye.